Tyler from Aspire Sports, where do you think Ezekiel Elliott should be ranked for the 2021 fantasy football season now that Dak Prescott has signed with the Dallas Cowboys? I'm going to give you that and also my rankings 1 through 10 in this video. Tomorrow I'm going to do 11 through 20, so make sure you hit that subscribe button to check that out. Also, do you want to get in a dynasty league? We're going to do a dynasty league with all of our followers. Let me know in the comments below. I would like to start it after a couple big free agents sign here in the next couple of days. Start it up. So let me know if you're interested in the comments below. With that being said, let's go ahead and get in the video. Coming in at number 10 is going to be Cam Akers. And I know a lot of people are high on DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, Antonio Gibson. But for me, Cam Akers is my favorite rookie running back from this past season other than Jonathan Taylor. Right now, Cam Akers has an upgrade at the quarterback position with Matthew Stafford being traded, which will only help the running game. Cam Akers was fully unleashed week 14 against the Patriots when he played 79% of the snaps at the running back position. Then next week against the Jets, got hurt, didn't play the following week. Played in week 17 when he was kind of banged up, where he played 65% of the snaps. Then we go into the playoffs. You know, the most important time of the year, win or go home. Wild card weekend, he plays 71% of the snaps against Seattle, has 30 touches, 176 yards, and a touchdown. The following week against the Green Bay Packers in the divisional round, he plays 96% of the snaps. All the snaps but 2 of them. Malcolm Brown gets the other 2. So it shows to me that they definitely trust him now. Now, Darrell Henderson did not play in the last couple of games. It doesn't matter for me. Sean McVay came out and said that he sees him as a 3-down back, and I believe Sean McVay. I know that Sean McVay at times has been a little bit tricky, but they drafted Cam Akers in the 2nd round. This offense flows through the running back position, so I think Cam Akers is honestly in store for a massive year next year. And I really want to put him higher than 10, but the other guys, I just can't put him ahead of the other guys. So for me, Cam Akers, number 10. Coming in at number 9 is going to be Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones just signed a contract with the Green Bay Packers, 4 years, $48 million. I made a video on the signing here above. If you want to check out like A.J. Dillon, go ahead and check that out. I believe that Aaron Jones is going to be more involved in the passing game this season than the past 2 years. Now with Jamal Williams going to Detroit. A.J. Dillon doesn't really fit the receiving role like Jamal Williams did. Jamal Williams, over 50% of his snaps were receiving down snaps. So I just don't think A.J. Dillon is going to fill that role because in college he only had 21 career receptions. Last year only had 2 receptions. So I just think Aaron Jones is going to take on a larger role in the passing game. Might lose some carries to A.J. Dillon, but he's going to make up for that in the passing game. My only hope is that his red zone carries, his goal line carries stay the same. If he loses some of those, he's going to fall outside the top 10. He's been incredible the past 2 seasons around the goal line. He's been scoring a bunch of touchdowns, but if he loses some of those touchdowns, he's not going to make up for it with workload. So I believe he's going to fall outside the top 10. I just want to see to make sure during camp time that he's still seeing that. If reports come out that A.J. Dillon's playing a little bit more, especially in the red zone, that's going to be a big red flag for me because, like I said, that's where he's been money the past 2 seasons. So Aaron Jones, number 9 for me. Coming in at number 8 is going to be Jonathan Taylor. Last year really came on towards the end of the season, finally broke out, and showed what he was capable of. Now they did just trade for Carson Wentz, and a lot of people think Frank Reich is going to fix Carson Wentz. I have some doubts. Carson Wentz was really bad last season. Yes, they had Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers wasn't that good, but Phillip Rivers was good enough. So to go to Carson Wentz just has to be good enough. Can he do it? Also, I will say this about Jonathan Taylor. He did break out, but if you look at the teams he broke out against, they were not good teams. You have Houston twice at the end of the season that they played. Houston was historically bad against the run last year. You have Jacksonville. Jacksonville was very bad. 3rd worst rush defense in the NFL last year. Las Vegas Raiders, bottom 10 in the NFL last year in terms of rush defense. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were playing Cassius Marsh at linebacker. Who is that? I don't even know, and I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So they were a shell of themselves at the end of the season last year. They also played Green Bay, who Green Bay was giving up a ton of points to the running back position as well. So I'm not trying to discredit what he did, but I'm just trying to bring light to those were pretty bad defenses. I still like him. He's number 8 for me. So I still like him, but I am tempering my expectations a tiny bit because I do see people like top 5. To me, I think he's good at number 8. So Jonathan Taylor, number 8. Coming in at number 7 is going to be Nick Chubb. And I love Nick Chubb. I think, honestly, Nick Chubb, I believe, is the best running back in the NFL. Now, I know a lot of people will say, oh, Derrick Henry's the best running back, pure running back in the NFL. No, I think Nick Chubb is. His combination of speed, power, elusiveness, vision, all of it combined makes him the best running back in the NFL. It's very disappointing that we have Kareem Hunt on the same team, because honestly, I think Kareem Hunt, in terms of a running back, is top 10 in the league as well. So it's unfortunate we're being robbed that both of these guys got to play on the same team. I wish Kareem Hunt would go somewhere else and he could thrive, but this is what we get. And Kareem Hunt's really going to limit Nick Chubb's upside. Nick Chubb, to be able to get inside the top 5, is going to have a season like Derrick Henry did last year. And it's just not going to happen with Kareem Hunt there. Over the past 2 seasons, Nick Chubb has seen 67 targets and 52 receptions. That's good for 1 season inside the top 5, but in 2 years, that's not going to cut it. He's just going to have to see a ton of rushing attempts and a ton of touchdowns to be able to crack the top 5. And I just don't think it's going to happen. But I still love Nick Chubb. That's why he's number 7, plays on a run-first team. That's why Nick Chubb's number 7. Coming in at number 6 is going to be Saquon Barkley. I love Saquon as a running back, one of the best running backs in the NFL. It's just the big issue is the knee. Coming off an ACL tear, and I hear this a lot from fantasy doctors that say it usually takes 1 year to 2 years for running backs to get back up to speed. So I think it's going to take him an extra year to really get back to where he was before. The year prior, 2019, was also banged up, a high ankle sprain that really limited his production throughout the season. So I'm just a little concerned with the injury. I think he's going to start out slow. He's going to get up to speed, though, towards the end of the season, towards the middle of the season, maybe just take a couple of games. But I just think this offense is very bad as well. Last year, they were second fewest in scoring points in the NFL last year. That's no bueno. The Jets were the only team that scored fewer points than them. So I think him coming back is just going to make this offense better. But is it going to make him that much better? How much scoring opportunity is he really going to have? But he's going to be a 3-down back. That's why he's number 6. So Saquon, for me, number 6. And coming in at number 5 is going to be Ezekiel Elliott. Now, before you click out of the video, just let me explain. Let me give you my perspective, okay? Everybody is hating on Zeke, and for me, I don't know why. I mean, I get it. Last year, he was disappointing, definitely where he was drafted, but he still finishes RB number 11, RB number 9 in PPR leagues. So still a decent season. He still had nearly 300 touches for 1,400 yards, okay? Yes, he had fumbling issues last year, but if you go back and look at the games that Dak Prescott played, in those games, he was RB number 4, and he was on pace for 280 rushes, 1,092 rushing yards, 12 rushing touchdowns, 120 targets, 92 receptions, 636 receiving yards, and 4 receiving touchdowns. That would have been 314 fantasy points. That would have made him RB number 4. Now let's factor in his fumbles. We'll give him his fumbles. Okay, we'll say he scores 1 point or 1 2-point conversion, right? So he's going to be right around like 300 fantasy points. Still RB number 4 last year. Now, of course, he's not going to see all the receptions, all those targets, but we can also take some of that and put it in his rushing total, which I think is a little bit low as well. So for me, finishes RB number 4 if Dak Prescott's there. Like, yes, this season was a big disappointment. Dak gets hurt. Then they go to Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton, first year on the team. It's a brand new system for everybody. Andy Dalton then gets hurt. So then they go to like Ben Nucci. I forget what his last name actually is. So they go to him. And they a couple of games. Then they go back to Andy Dalton. All the offensive linemen are hurt. The defense is fucking terrible. Like, everything that could go wrong with the Dallas Cowboys went wrong last year. Yet Zeke finishes RB number 11. I get it. A lot of people are disappointed. They think Tony Pollard's going to be, stealing a lot of his workload. I'm not concerned about that at all. Zeke is still Zeke. Zeke is built like a fire hydrant. He's going to be 26 years old next year. I'm not concerned. For me, I want to put Zeke higher, but I feel like right here is good. With Dak back, Zeke is a top 5 running back in fantasy football. Don't overthink it. A lot of people think he's outside the top 10, which makes him very good value on where he's going to be drafted. Ezekiel Elliott, number 5. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Derrick Henry. He's had the triple crown the past 2 years. Rushing yards, rushing attempts, rushing touchdowns. He's led the league in those categories. He's a freight train when he gets up to speed, wears defenses down. We know what we're going to get out of Derrick Henry. A shit ton of carries, but really no receiving work. So really he has to have this good of a season, which I don't think is going to happen again. There's going to be some regression. He's not going to have over 2,000 rushing yards again. I think he's going to regress, but he's still a top 5 guy for me. Very durable. Is somebody who's going to average 20 rushing attempts, at least 20 rushing attempts a game next season. It's just you're going to get some of those stinker games where he doesn't score and he has like 60 rushing attempts, and he's not going to make up for it in the receiving game. But he's incredibly consistent the past 2 years. That's why he's number 4 for me. And if you want to take him higher, go ahead. I just rather take the other guys because they're going to see those receiving totals that he's not going to see. But if you like him more, then go for it. He's really the definition of consistency at the running back position. So Derrick Henry, number 4. Coming in at number 3 is going to be Alvin Kamara. We just had Drew Brees retire. Drew Brees, congratulations on a great career, but it was definitely time to hang it up. I really think this past season, it was such a waste for the Saints offense, for these skill players. And next season, yes, I know that they still have Taysom Hill. They just signed Jameis Winston to a contract, and it's been reported that he's likely to be the starter. I think Jameis Winston will be the starter, and I know Jameis Winston gets a lot of hate, but this offense is going to be very fantasy friendly. And I have high hopes for Alvin Kamara next year, as long as Taysom Hill is not the quarterback. If Taysom Hill is the quarterback, I'm definitely moving him outside of my top 5. But I think Jameis Winston is going to win the starting job. He will be the quarterback next season. He's probably going to have some games where he throws a bunch of interceptions. But like I said, this offense is going to be better. Even upgrade Michael Thomas. I like Michael Thomas a lot next year as well. Alvin Kamara, the past 3 seasons, is basically averaging over 100 targets and 80 receptions per season. He's money, especially in PPR leagues. If you want to take him number 1, go for it. Alvin Kamara finishes RB number 1 this season in full point PPR. So if you want to take him in a full point PPR as number 1, go for it. Alvin Kamara, number 3. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Dalvin Cook. And I think the top 2 guys this year, at least leading up to the season right now, are basically unanimous. It's going to be Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, right? But for me, Dalvin Cook is number 2, just for the simple reason he's not going to see the work that Christian McCaffrey is in the passing game. Christian McCaffrey is going to see so much work, has at least the past 2 seasons. I know last year was hurt. We'll get into him in a minute, but Dalvin Cook is not going to see the work that he's going to see, but he's going to see enough to be number 2. The one thing that I'm somewhat concerned about, obviously health, but you can say that for every single running back, but they also had Gary Kubiak, who just retired. So their offense coordinator is out, but they have his son, Clint Kubiak, coming in. Now, I would assume that Clint is going to basically run the same offense that his dad ran. Maybe he does some things different. Maybe he's going to get the ball to Dalvin Cook a bit more in the passing game, which would be great. Or maybe he might use a second back to kind of give Dalvin Cook a little bit of a rest, which might hurt his value. I don't know. We'll see what happens in camp. But right now, I'm not really that concerned about it. I think he'll probably be running the same offense that his dad's going to run. So that's why I have Dalvin Cook here. And Dalvin Cook is just one of the best running backs in the NFL. If you watch him on tape, the dude is so electric. So Dalvin Cook, number 2. And coming in at number 1 for me is going to be Christian McCaffrey. And yes, I know, he was very disappointing last year. He was hurt. I think I'm creating my own narrative, but I think he could have came back earlier. But I just think that this team knew that they weren't that good. They thought that next year, this season, they could be a lot better and maybe have a chance. And especially with the recent news that they are trying everything to get Deshaun Watson. Hey, this team could have a shot. But Christian McCaffrey last year in the 3 games, it was only 3 games, but was averaging 27 points per game. The season prior, his 400-point fantasy season, he didn't even average that many fantasy points per game. If he can average that again across a full season and not get injured, he's going to be RB number 1 this season. Now, that's a big if, because I will say this. There are some concerns because coming out of college, some of the knocks on him were he was basically his frame was taken up. He wasn't going to get any bigger. He was as big as he was going to get, and they weren't sure if he was going to be able to handle a full workload in the NFL. Well, last year, he wasn't able to do that. Is that just kind of a fluky season with the whole COVID, the off season, or is this going to kind of be the theme for the future? Even if he plays 15 games next season, I still think he's going to finish as RB number 1. Possibly even if he only plays 14 games, has a chance to be RB number 1 next season. That's how much work he's going to see, especially in the passing game, especially in full point PPR leagues. Possibly will finish as RB number 1 if he only plays 14 games next season. So with that being said, If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I have somebody too high, maybe too low. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.